Hey guys, just got done watching 2012's Would You Rather, which stars Brittany Snow, Jeffrey Combs, Johnny Coyne, Lawrence Gillard Jr., Envy, whatever his name is, can't say that, Sasha Grey, the Bond star, John Hurd, who's in a lot of stuff, Charlie Hofheimer, and some other people. This film basically starts off with Brittany Snow's character Iris in desperate need for a job because her brother has leukemia. She needs to be able to get him a bone marrow transplant. And it's one of those films where it's not gory, it's not very gory, and it's not very, what's the word? It's not very scary, but the tension rises. So let's go through the movie. So basically, it starts off with her wanting a job, like I said, and she goes to the doctor, and basically she meets Jeffrey Combs, who plays Shepard Lambrick, and he invites her around the house and says, if you want to come round to a dinner party, where to possibly win money, come let us know and you can come round. So basically, she does, and it turns out that altogether there's 8 people there. And they all get told to sit down at the dining room table. So they sit down and they're having dinner and they're having a drink, and basically somebody says something to Iris and she goes, I'm a vegetarian, I could never eat meat, or something like that. And Jeffrey Combs' character Shepard says to her, oh, that gives us a chance to play our first game. I'll give you 5 grand if you eat the steak. And now you got to remember, she says she's a devout vegetarian, but she won't do it. So they offers her 10 grand, and she's looking around like he's crazy, but it's money she can't, go without. Now you got to remember, her brother being ill and her needing to help him is a strong force, obviously, in this movie. Sadly, we don't really get to know much about the other people's problems. Amy, played by Sasha Grey, we find out later on in the story that her child died from her husband drowning her. And we find out that Lucas, played by Enver Djokovic, he's got 3 sisters, but we never find out anything else about them. So that's a little bit disappointing. So she decides to eat the steak, and Shepard starts laughing and goes, see? With money, you can be bought, and basically goes on about how, the vegetarian gone out the window. So then he looks over to Conway, played by John Hurd, and he says, you don't like wine? And he goes, no, I just like drinking water. So Shepard basically figures out that he is a reformed alcoholic. So he says to him, drink this and I'll give you 50 grand. Well, you can tell the guy's in debt and that his life's in tatters, and he's like, because he's almost breaking down because of it. And he ends up taking the drink and getting the 50 grand. So then Shepard says, anybody wants to leave now can leave. So Conway gets up and you're like, he's going to leave. He's going to leave. Good idea. He doesn't. He sits back down and you're like, And that's when the games begin. I think he said that Bevans, who's like his bodyguard slash butler kind of person, was working for MI5 or MI6. One of them, whatever one they choose, because companies change them, don't they, in the films. And it's Bevans. And he brings in this electrical kind of equipment. And what it is it's like a band that you put around your head when 2 people, one person presses the button whether or not they want to be shocked, the other person does. So it goes around the table and you kind of get to know people's personalities a bit. Like Amy's a bit of a sociopath, the others are fairly weak and fairly similar, and most of the men don't want to hurt the women. So later on you find out that Shepard has a brother called, and let me get it right, Julian. And Julian sits at the other end of the table watching them and kind of smirking a lot of the time. And he gets into an argument with Travis, and he goes, "Oh, you're going to regret this, Travis." And basically does, because when they come round with the next one, which is either stick someone with a pick, either stab them in the leg, or cane Travis with a big massive stick, 3 strikes. Most of the time they give him the 3 strikes. So he's practically knocked out through the film after that. Then there's all these other things like, can you hold your breath? Can you do this? Can you do that? They try to escape at one point, and the good doctor, Dr. Barden, who kind of let her go there in the first place, he turns up and gets shot in the head like boom. Yeah, like boom. And they're sitting back at the table, and then they get asked what they're going to do, and when it finally gets to the last two, she realised it's quite cool. Because I was a bit surprised, I was a bit upset when a couple of them got shot, because it was a bit like, oh, that takes them out of the game. There's only 8 people, you know what I mean? I want them to dive through the things. So when it gets to the last 2 people, Lucas and Iris, basically they go, who wants to go first? So so they say, Iris, what do you choose? You can both leave now without money, or you can basically shoot Travis and get all the money. So Travis starts talking to her, not Travis, sorry, Lucas. Lucas says, I know how you feel, you're doing this for someone else. And he goes, I've got 3 sisters. And then basically she shoots him. And basically Bevans and Shepard are like, yay, woohoo, and she's breaking down. So they give her the money and she goes. And Shepard says to her, don't you think I deserve a thank you? And you're like, really? You know, he's got a transplant happening for her brother, and he's giving her tons of money, and she's on her way home. Her brother, he's got leukemia, and through the movie you see him kind of depressed, and there's a scene where he talks about life, when she's got her head in the bucket of water, or the barrel of water. He talks about a boat and about how he sees him drowning and stuff. And she gets home and she sees him laying in the bed. And he's just laying there, and basically she goes and gets washed and goes in there and finds that he's dead, but he took an overdose. And that really hit me, because I'm sitting there going, all that time she was doing all that for him, and he committed suicide because his life was appalling. But what he didn't realise was his sister loved him very much, you know. It was a bit depressing, to be honest, and a little bit down. But you know, it's an upsetting film. But overall, the performances in it were pretty good. I really enjoyed Jeffrey Combs. He's got this real sinister laugh in it, and he's really like, I'm in control of the whole situation, kind of psychopath, kind of. And he doesn't go crazy at any time, but you just get that sense to him. But then he's that perfect character for that, because he's got that look as well, and he's got that kind of eccentric side to him. Brittany Snow was great in the movie. She played her role pretty well, but I felt she was a little bit stiff. Sasha Grey was great as the sociopath. All she had to do was pull her faces, the smirks. You know? And everybody did a good job, but they were the top 3 people, I think, to be honest. I think they did the best jobs. Jeffrey Combs and Sasha Grey kind of stick out more. Brittany Snow seemed to be on, on standby, and she was doing her role and doing really good, but at the same time she wasn't. It depended on the scenes. The film itself isn't very gory, but it does have some bits, like when a guy's hand gets blown off, which is quite interesting, and kills him. And it had the right mix of a little bit of blood and it had more tension in it. The tension was great in this movie because you didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, I thought that Brittany Snow as Iris would survive, but you didn't know what was going to happen to the other people. The only problem I had with it was it didn't really have any backstories for the other people, really. And Shepard seems to know a lot about them, but he doesn't talk about it a lot, which was quite... because I wish he had done. I wish he'd kind of, you know, brought it up more, but he didn't. There's a bit where Iris is trying to escape and Julian grabs hold of her and she stabs him in the leg. And he ends up upstairs and he's out the game, basically, out not being able to sit there anymore. And to be honest, I didn't feel like the bad guy got his comeuppance. It was kind of weird, you know? It's one of those weird films that you watch, but you really enjoy it and you'd kind of recommend to people because it starts slow, but it gets moving. And considering it's only like in one room, technically, it doesn't ever get boring. It's an hour, it's an hour and 33-minute movie, and the pace of it just keeps you motivated. I mean, I was watching it and I didn't get bored once, so I definitely recommend it. I wouldn't. It's a cheap budget. It's a cheap, low budget film, but it's worth definitely checking out, giving it a watch, because it's one of those films which I found interesting a lot more than some of the films I watched. There was a lot better than Annabelle. So I highly recommend giving it a go. I would rate it a 4 because I think the first time you watch it, it would be because it's fun, but it's not over the top fun. There's a little bit of realism to it, but at the same time there isn't. And the characters are all pretty good, and I really thought it was a fun film. Watching it a second time, I'd probably be bored of it because I'd know what was going to happen. So I'll give it a 4 for watching it the first time, you know, for the first time. Sasha Grey was great in it. Really sexy. Yeah, really, really sexy. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. And, yeah, everybody else did a good job. So, I'll give it a 4 out of 5, and I'll give it a recommendation. Even if it's just for Jeffrey Combs, because he's an awesome actor in himself. If you like Jeffrey Combs and you haven't seen him, check out From Beyond and Re-Animator. Most people will normally have by now if they know Jeffrey Combs is, obviously, because he's kind of like a legend from those two movies. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Have a lovely day. Take care, and give the film a go. 2012's Would You Rather, because Would You Rather was a children's game, which basically it says to them, would you rather do this? Would you rather do that? So would you rather eat a pie or make a pie? You see, it's kind of like that. So it was kind of a cool thing to do as well in the movie, because it was a great kind of game. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a lovely day. Take care, and see you all soon. Thanks for watching.